want to talk about it. I told y'all Trump would mess everything up. It's his fault. It's his fault. Yeah, Jalen Brunson didn't pass the ball. He shot twice as much as everybody else. OG Anunoby had 28 points and 13 shots. Jalen Brunson had 32 points and 25 shots. It was like he was trying to win MVP. It's not how they played the first two games. But it's all about Trump. Trump ruined this. President Donald Trump showed up here and disrupted the vibe, disrupted the momentum, disrupted everything. And the New York Knicks faltered because of it. It's all his fault. That's all I have to say.
Okay, so I don't know if Stephen A. Smith is actually being sarcastic there, because if you're talking about a championship caliber team that can get disrupted by a vibe shift, then I don't know that you're a championship caliber team. But what do I know? I'm big into middle school sports.
That's a darn good point.
Thank you. Let's get to Nate Foy, Fox News correspondent on X at Foy Meets World. And I saw you last night reporting from Madison Square Garden. Talk to me about the vibe there, Nate, while you're covering this incredible story.
Well, hey, thanks for having me. The vibe was electric. The Garden was definitely rocking. The Knicks fans were clearly very excited to be hosting the first finals game in New York in 27 years. During the national anthem, President Trump was saluting the American flag, and he did get booed, which was quite different than what we saw when he was the president-elect the last time he was at MSG for a UFC fight, when he was cheered very loudly. So that was the reaction to President Trump and the cabinet officials and others who were in the suite with him, along with Knicks owner James Dolan, who invited Trump. Dolan's a member at the Mar-a-Lago Club. He's donated for several Trump campaigns. But yeah, the crowd wasn't too friendly to Trump. And then the team, I don't want to say they laid an egg. They came out very sloppy. And then in classic Knicks fashion, they're such a scrappy, tough team. They clawed their way back into the game. But ultimately, Victor Wembanyama was just too much to overcome, with a big third quarter that sort of propelled the Spurs to take control of the game. And then the Knicks just couldn't get over the hump in the fourth quarter.
Well, okay, so Nate Foy, we're sitting here in St. Louis, Missouri. We've got a kind of a bi-state region between Illinois and Missouri. There's not really an NBA team here. We used to have one. We don't have it anymore. They're in New Orleans now. But the national coverage when the Knicks are in it, and especially with the drought that has existed from when the Knicks last competed for a championship, obviously there's a lot of attention being put on the Knicks' possibility of winning a championship. You're there in New York City. You're covering this. Is it overtaking the whole city? Is this sweeping NYC right now?
Definitely. It's so much different than when the Yankees made the World Series. When the Yankees were in the World Series, you kind of barely noticed it, honestly. And I think that baseball is becoming less popular generally across the country than it was when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. But right now, the Knicks have unified New York in a way that I honestly didn't even think was possible. People all over the city are just so positive, so energetic, so into this playoff run. And I'm from Boston, so I'm a lifelong Boston Celtics fan, and I've never been a fan of the New York Knicks. But I have to say, this team is so likable to the point that I find myself rooting for them. You know, you have the Spurs, which are also a very likable team, which makes this matchup just interesting and fun to watch, because the Spurs are young. They're an up-and-coming team. They have probably the most physically gifted superstar outside of maybe LeBron James, you could argue, in NBA history. And then the New York Knicks have perhaps the most physically limited superstar that we've seen in Jalen Brunson, this undersized guard who's not lightning quick, but through fundamentals and, you know, intelligence and pure skill is able to put a team on his back and lead a group of otherwise solid but not spectacular players to within 2 games of an NBA Finals championship.
Fox News correspondent Nate Foy speaking with us. How much time were you able to spend covering this last night? I did see your stand-up coverage of it. Were you able to talk to any people? Did Trump come up? I always wonder how much the Trump contingent from, you know, our side on the news, political coverage. Of course, it's the big story over in our little neck of the woods, but is it really infiltrating? Were people discussing it, talking about it, or was it really just more Knicks centered?
I mean, the energy was more Knicks centered last night. I was personally talking to people with Bruce Blakeman, the Nassau County executive, who is the Republican running for governor here in New York. He was in the suite with President Trump and several other people last night. the politics of it, anytime that President Trump returns to his hometown, are obvious, and people do care about it. Obviously, New York City is predominantly full of liberal people, so that's why you got the reaction that Knicks fans gave President Trump last night. But even within that moment, they booed him when they brought up Trump on the Jumbotron during the national anthem. And then the moment that they switched to a different shot, then there were chants of USA and Go Knicks. And immediately it was back to a very positive vibe focused on basketball and just general excitement. And I mean, it was great to hear the USA chants with the president in the building, because even though many in MSG last night voiced their displeasure with him, generally they still showed some patriotism, which was good to see.
We're speaking with Nate Foy, Fox News correspondent. I'm curious about your thoughts on there are people criticizing that Donald Trump has no business there. I think they've completely forgotten that Donald Trump and New York City are intertwined in a way that is inseparable. What are your thoughts on Donald Trump's history with the NBA, but specifically the New York Knicks?
I think it's ridiculous. I was listening to the Stephen A. Smith clip right before you brought me on, and I think that you're correct that any athlete who actually is that superstitious to the point where some outside event influences their play on the field or on the court, they're not going to be a champion anyway. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is that these guys are under so much pressure, and if they play bad, they just get hammered on social media. Mm-hmm. And they have to grow accustomed to this, and they develop, the ones who last and excel, develop this mental toughness and this ability to sort of go, inside themselves and tune out the noise. Trump being at the game last night had nothing to do with the result on the court. All that it had to do with was the fact that the Spurs played really well. These players are locked in. These are two really good teams. President Trump is a lifelong Knicks fan. He has shown that since before he was even in office. All the political games, I think, are silly. And you saw last week when Governor Hochul tried sort of dunking on President Trump. It didn't go too well for her because she said that she challenged him to name players on the 1993 Knicks championship team. But the problem for her is there is no Knicks 1993 championship team. The Knicks last won in 1973. So she ended up looking foolish while trying to make Trump look foolish.
I didn't hear that.
And I think that Zoran Mamdani, the socialist mayor of New York City, is actually doing a better job, a smarter job of handling this. He welcomed Trump. He said, hey, listen, anybody who supports the New York Knicks right now, we welcome them.
Yeah. He
did not meet with Trump while the president was in the city last night. Mamdani was also at the game. But he did welcome Trump to come back. And the commissioner, Adam Silver, also came out and said, hey, listen, Donald Trump is a Knicks fan. He's been a Knicks fan for a while. Mm-hmm. So and he has a personal relationship with Jim Dolan as well.
Yeah. Mamdani kind of screwed up the Mets there for a while. I understood there was the curse of Mamdani as they went to visit with the Mets mascots there, and they went on a profound losing streak. So maybe it was his fault. I don't know.
Yeah, now we're getting back to the superstitions of sports, right? But
we're talking crap on the Mets because I think we're playing them coming up here shortly here in St. Louis.
The Mets are so bad; they just always need to find some new curse. And yes, it was Mamdani this time, but I, as a Boston Red Sox fan, I moved to New York, and I was thinking mutual enemies create friendships. Mm-hmm. I think the line is.
Yeah.
And I couldn't stand the Yankees growing up. I wanted a hometown team, so I adopted the Mets, and let me tell you, it's not going well.
A team in search of a curse might be the name of this hour with Nate Foy.
Yeah.
Nate, this is Ryan. Quick question this is a little bit speculative, but is Donald Trump getting booed because he's in deep blue New York, or as you follow the league, would this happen in any city because it's the NBA?
Well, generally speaking, if you follow the polls and you believe the polls, his approval rating is, at a low point with the war in Iran. So this is a time where no matter where he goes, he might get a less receptive audience compared to prior points in his presidency and even in future points. If the war in Iran ends and prices go down and people are happier in the next 6 months, he could get a very different reception. But definitely doesn't help. I forget the exact numbers. I think it's like 80% of people in Manhattan vote blue.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
so he's definitely not in friendly territory here. So I think that what happened last night, he expected and everyone expected. And that's why I think if you look at the video as he's getting booed, he's sort of smirking through it. Now, of course, afterwards, Trump said later in the night that he thought the reaction was mostly positive. So
Best reaction you've ever seen. Nothing like it.
Selective hearing from the president.
The people in my booth were cheering for me.
Did you
Yeah,
did you talk to anybody? Did you go into the game, Nate?
I was in the game. Yeah.
Good for you. Did you talk to anybody that was happy he was there? Was anybody willing to say that?
I really wasn't talking politics with fans.
Mm-hmm.
They were more so just talking about the Knicks.
Yeah.
So we weren't having in-depth political discussions with the fans last night, but it was largely a positive experience. Really, the booing was confined to just the 5 seconds that they pulled him up on the jumbotron during the national anthem.
Yeah.
There was no heckling during the game with him being in the owner's box with Dolan. Once that one moment passed, the rest of it was focused on the Knicks. Very positive energy throughout MSG.
Mm. I just got a message from my husband that says we play the Pond Scum in New York tonight. That's how we refer to the Mets. It's a decades-long relationship there. So hopefully they'll pull it out. We thank you for your insight here, and we'll stay tuned to your coverage as this series that the whole country is paying attention to unfolds. We appreciate your time today, Nate.
Of course. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yep. Talk to you again soon. We'd hope. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Sounds good. All right. Bye.
Fox News correspondent Nate Foy on X at Foy Meets World.